Okay, good. Uh, we had certain technical problems over here, so we got started a little bit late, and we've got a lot of other excuses, etc. But here we go. This is Dvar Malchut, a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1991. When the Rebbe was speaking, this was the beginning of the month of Sivan. We haven't reached that yet. We're in the end of the month of Iyar, but this is very, very relevant to us because the month of Sivan was when the Jewish people received the Torah. Now, the Torah, that's the essence of Judaism. That's the definition of Judaism. Without the Torah, Judaism is just up for grabs. Anybody can say that everything is Judaism. Anything you want to. You can make up your own laws, make up your own rules, make up your own identity. The Torah is the essence. As we've said so many times, there's no other religion, group, philosophy, race, nation that even made up such a story like this. God himself, the creator of the universe. Creator of the universe. You have doubts if there's a creator of the universe or not? Well, when the Jews got out of Egypt, they had absolutely no doubts. The Jewish people, 3 million of them, says there was 600,000 just men from the age of 20 and up. Some say just from 20 to 60. That's 600,000 just males from the age of 20 up. So that's not counting all the children. That's not counting all the women. So there's probably, let's say, the round estimate, 3 million people. So 3 million people were witnessed and were alive by virtue of all these miracles. And then finally, after these miracles, God took them out of Egypt and he split the sea for them and he gave them bread from heaven and water from a rock. That's the story that's told. You can believe it or not. But that's been passed down from father to son, son to father, family to family for 3,000 years, 3,300, what is it, 3,330 something years. Passed down. Exactly. And same as the Torah has been read in public. The Torah has been read in public. Whoa. 4 times a week. 4 times a week. Since it was given. 3 times a week since it was given, but then 1 time was added on later. So it's been read in public, and if a person makes one little mistake, everybody in the synagogue jumps on it. So the Torah is the essence of Judaism. That's just talking about historically. But what is going on? Why did God himself appear to all the Jewish people? What did he have to do that for? There's other religions, there's billions of people. And they have one guy came, or a little group, and they said, we saw, we experienced, or we have received messages from the Lord, and etc. And this is what everybody said, oh, this is it, we're going to believe. And they have billions of followers. In Judaism, we received directly from God. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew. No one had any doubts about God. God took them out of Egypt. He gave them food. He gave them everything, right? God revealed 40 days after they received the Torah, they worshiped the golden calf. The second of the 2 commandments. I am God that took you out of Egypt. Don't worship any other God. That's it. Worked for 40 days. After 40 days, God wanted to wipe out all the Jews. If it wasn't for Moses, God would have wiped them all out. He would have made a new nation from Moses. And so we see that the Torah holds inside of it something that's very, how do you say, abhorrent the word, to human nature. Very caustic to human nature. People that, I don't want Torah. What do you say about worshiping an idol? Oh, now you're talking. Worship a golden calf. There we go. This is okay. But it's against the Torah. Don't worry, we're smart people. We can figure it out. But you heard directly from God not to worship idols. God, listen, we heard it, but you're hearing it now? Now he's saying it now? He's not saying it now. There's always a getting around what it says in the Torah. But for some reason, God, who creates everybody, I mean, he must like everybody. He's creating everybody. We just created us just to torture us, give us all these laws that we don't want to do. Right? I want to worship idols. God said, don't worship idols. Come on. Leave me alone. Let me do what I want. Why do we want to worship idols? Because God gave us this nature. God put the nature inside of us that we want to worship idols. We want to do sins. We like to do sins. It's enjoyable to do sins. You profit by doing sins. You succeed if you do sins. How can it possibly? Says the Rebbe. That's exactly the point of Judaism: is to overcome nature, and that's a big novelty. The novelty to overcome nature for the sake of the truth, not to make the world, to make nature true. That's what God gave the Torah for. So let's go. This whole idea of the first day of this month of Sivan, the third day of the Jewish month is Sivan. Third month of the Jewish months. Third month of Jewish is Sivan. This is explained in the Torah. It says, B'chodesh HaShlishi, in the third month, Bayom Hazeh, on this day, Bo Midbar Sinai, the Jewish people went into the desert of Sinai. Before that, they went out of Egypt, and they made a bunch of journeys, right? A few journeys, and then they came into the whole thing was the first 40 days. They made a few journeys over there. What is it, 11 journeys or something? Then they came to Mount Sinai. They came to Mount Sinai. Before they came to Mount Sinai, they came in the desert of Sinai. When did they come in the desert of Sinai? 6 days before the Torah was given, they came into Midbar Sinai. The Torah was given on the 6th day of the month of Sivan, and they came into the desert of Sinai on the first day of Sivan. The desert of Sinai, this is connected to the giving of the Torah. Sinai, it says Moshe Kibel Torah Mi Sinai. Sinai is the mountain. The mountain is called Sinai. Sometimes it's called Chorev. It's called Sinai. Midbar Sinai, the desert of Sinai, like the rabbis say, Nitna b'midbar, the Torah was given in a desert. Makom Hefker, a place which is ownerless. Totally open. Nobody wants it. Who wants to live in a desert? Call a Rotza L'Kabel. Anyone who wants to go into the desert and get what's ever there, you can get what's in the desert. You want to go into the desert, then all the scorpions you want, or all the water, sand. You want to go into the desert and get sand, all the sand you want. Go and take all the sand. Like there's nothing there in the desert. What's in the desert? Nothing. Desert is a place that's hefker. You want to go in the desert, you make a fence around this thing. You make a fence. This is my land. They think you're a nut. What do you have after? It's not irrigated. It's not. There's no. It's just blasting sun in the daytime. It's freezing cold in the nighttime. Who wants to go in the desert? Nobody. So the desert is a place that's hefker, that's ownerless. Nobody wants to own it. Therefore, the Torah was given in such a place. Therefore, when the Jewish people came into the desert of Sinai on the first day of Sivan, this is a place which is good to give the Torah. That's when the whole idea of giving the Torah began. God wanted to find a place that was ownerless. Nobody could say the Torah belongs to me. It's my miyad achar Rosh Chodesh, immediately after Rosh Chodesh. Right? No one could say the Torah belongs to me. It doesn't belong to you. Immediately, it says, Heichal Moshe. Moshe began immediately on that day when they went into Mount Sinai, when they come to the desert of Sinai, as Moses began to work with them in receiving the Torah. In the language of the Midrash, it says, Omer Kodesh Baruch Hu, God said, Hainu Hari Ashah, here is the time that I am going to give them the Torah. The first day of Sivan, 6 days before he gave the Torah, God said to Moses, start working. You're going to receive the Torah in a few days. They had to come into the desert for this. This is stressed also in Kriyat Torah when we read the Torah, near giving the Torah. It says this was going to be next week's Torah portion. Next week's Torah portion is Parshas Bamidbar. The God counted the Jews. They came in Midbar Sinai. We read that this Torah portion, next week's Torah portion, before Atzeret. Atzeret is the holiday of Shavuot. The holiday of Shavuot celebrates when we receive the Torah. The Jews have been celebrating this holiday for 3,300 whatever it is years. And this, we start reading about this coming Shabbat in the Mincha prayer. At the end of Shabbat, we also read the first portion of the next book of the Torah, which is called Bamidbar. The whole Torah is called Bamidbar. Sometimes it's called Numbers, but it begins with the word in the desert, Bamidbar. In Hebrew, in Judaism, the Jews call it Bamidbar. Bamidbar means in the Midbar Sinai, the desert of Sinai. Because the desert is a good place to give the Torah. Okay, at first glance, this is okay. That's what God wanted to do. God does whatever he wants to. That's what Judaism is, right? Says the Rebbe, but 1 second. an essential thing in Judaism is to ask questions. Very important to ask questions, to understand as much as we can, right? As we said so many times, Judaism depends on questions. It doesn't depend so much on answers. On answers. In the end, you can't understand. You can't understand what God is, who God is, why God cares, right? Why can't understand this? Why God is creating us all the time? How God is creating us all the time? You can't understand, but we have to ask. It's very important to ask, and especially when we're talking about the Torah. The Torah is the whole guideline for all mankind. All the other religions in the world are just like feeling around in the darkness. Maybe like this, like the famous story about the four men that felt the animal, the blind men that felt the elephant, right? One felt his tail. I know what an elephant is. An elephant is like a rope. Another one felt his trunk. I know what an elephant is. An elephant is like a snake. Another one felt its leg. An elephant is like a tree. One felt his side. All the other religions in the world, they're feeling a little tiny bit of reality, maybe spirituality, so they make up this whole thing. But Judaism was given directly by God. No other, like we say, no other religion even claims such a thing. Did it really happen in Mount Sinai? God really did? Think if you can believe it or not believe it. No one here saw it. But the fact that there is no one else made up such a weird story like that as the Jewish people. We made it up, right? We've been making up the same story, believing that that's the most gullible nation in the world. It should say that somewhere, right? Jews, the most gullible nation in the world, especially the religious ones. They really believe that. What's this? Not really. Let's just keep this down here a second. Okay. So the giving the Torah. Let's understand something about the giving of the Torah. Okay, fact. The fact of the matter is God gave the Torah. The fact of the matter is God gave the Torah on Mount Sinai. The fact of the matter is the Mount Sinai is in the middle of a desert. And for some reason, the Torah stresses this fact that it's in a desert, and it's in a desert. And the side is in a desert, and the Torah was given in a desert. And the mountain is in a desert because it has to be given in a desert. What's so important about a desert? What is so important about a desert? We have to understand what is this connection about a desert to giving the Torah. Desert is a place which is ownerless. No one wants to own it. It's a place that there's no owners. Lo balut shel yachid, not an individual person can't own it. No balut shel rabim, and not of many people, like Rashut Rabim. Maybe it is in the Sahara Desert or something. They don't want you to because they think maybe you'll, have you're making plans or something to take over the country or something like that. Make up an army base there or something. But generally speaking, a private person wants to go into a desert. The desert is a part of a country, so you might have problems going over the border. But a desert itself means nothing. You can't do anything with that desert. Therefore, it's a place. It's a domain that there's no one owns it. There's no ownership. Therefore, anyone who wants to can go and they can live there. They can take whatever, anyone who wants to can receive it. Want to live in the desert, go live in the desert. Well, at first glance, the Torah, the giving of the Torah, that's one of the reasons, by the way, why they say that there's not enough people in the world. There's all these negative economists that say that there's too many people in the world, there's going to be a tragedy, there's going to be a this. If there's maybe 1% of the economists say there's not enough people in the world, because what we need is some one person that can make an invention, how to change, let's say, the desert into fertile land, how to do it. Right? Somebody comes and makes an invention, and he figures out a way how you can do it, like chemically, whatever it is, using solar power, something like that, and make the deserts into fertile land. If so, we have enough place for billions of people to live. All the deserts in the world. But the way it is now is deserts are places that no one lives, no one wants to live. So when God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, it's not in a way that God took away his ownership of the Torah and he just let anyone who wants to take it. It becomes like a thing which has no owners, that anyone who wants to can come and take the Torah, but it's in a way that God gave us the Torah. When God gave the Torah, he gave it to us, to the Jewish people, that the Torah is the possession of all the Jews. You don't have to do anything to get it. As soon as you're born a Jew, the Torah is yours. Each and every Jew, from the oldest to the youngest, from the greatest to the smallest, until a child that's just born right now, 1 second old, Because he's part of the Jewish people, Kilat Yaakov, so he inherits the whole entire Torah. Like it says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha kilat Yaakov. Like it says, the Torah, God commanded to us Moses. It is inheritance to all of the Jewish people. Al Pizeh, according to this, now we have to understand the reason. What is the connection of the Torah to all the Jewish people? That's made on Rosh Chodesh Sivan. The connection, that's the time when the Jewish people says, when God said, I'm beginning to give them the Torah. When was this? When the Jewish people on this day, they went into the desert, a place which is ownerless. God should have taken them into Israel, and in Israel giving them the Torah. Then we would have an argument also the United Nations. This is the place where we receive the Torah. Then also there wouldn't be any non-religious Jews. The religious Jews, so what's our claim to the land of Israel? Here's the place where God gave us the Torah, the land of Israel. It's ours. The Torah is ours. Nobody else owns the Torah. Nobody else owns Israel. Huh? No. God said I gave them the desert. No person in Israel would say, well, Sinai, Mount Sinai belongs to us, right? Because God gave the Torah over there. No. The Torah was given in a desert because it's a place where nobody owns it and nobody owns anything that's in it. But God gave the Torah in the desert. Why? So that the Jews wouldn't be able to take possession of it. But that's not right. The whole purpose of the Torah, God took the Jews out of Egypt only so the Jews would take possession of it. So if so, why was it in the desert? The Torah was given to the ownership of every single Jew. Why did God give it in the desert? And why is it stressed so much in the Torah? This is the day they came into the desert of Sinai in the desert. As we will continue, God willing, tomorrow. I'm sorry, like I said, we're a little bit short of time because 45 minutes, I just had to deal with technical problems and enough excuses, but there it is. There's this big excuse. Okay, so we put our foot into the door of holiness. We learned Lukuti Torah, about how we can work on ourselves, and we learned Torah, the Dvar Malchut. What is the importance of the desert? We just asked a question here. Both places we ask questions. Okay. As we will continue, God willing, tomorrow, I hope by then I'll have my regular computer working. Now, Yom Yom. One minute. We got to go back to English over here. English. Yom. There we go. Yom Chabad. What happened? Why doesn't it move? There we go. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's make it record here. We weren't recording on.